everybody, I'm back with the ABCs of marketing on the letter C, and I'm talking today about content strategy, content marketing. That's all those things that you're spending so much time and energy to produce and try to make those connections with your audience. And before I really get into the 3 types of content that I want to talk about, I want to just remind you how important it is to make sure that your content marketing is tied to a business goal. So it's not enough for you to just make and produce content for the sake of making and producing it. It's not that important that you post something every day, as it is that every post you make is making a positive impact on your business. So it's important that you have to have that first step in place. And I talk about planning all the time. You're probably sick of hearing it, but you really have to have a plan in place that clearly identifies your 1 or 2 business goals that you have. What is it that if you achieve nothing else this year, you need to achieve to be successful as a business so you can stay in business? Because it's probably unlikely that your business is about creating content, right? So your business, I work with a lot of farmers and agricultural organizations, and so you have very specific business goals. You need to sell a certain amount of product. You need to sign up a certain number of new members. You need to, achieve certain things as an organization. Whatever that is, it's going to be unique. So make sure that your content is tied to those business goals. That's going to keep you from being frustrated as you go along, because creating content, publishing content, and keeping track of it is very frustrating. Most content fails. And so if you have it tied to your business objectives and you can see which pieces of content are working and which ones aren't, then you know where to focus your time and just use it all more wisely. So make sure that you have a plan, and I'll have some links to that in a blog post for you. But I want to talk about 3 pieces of content that are really important to think about, especially as most of you are getting into your busy season. So 1, obviously, is the content that you create. That's all the videos that you make, all the pictures that you take, any kind of graphics that you're putting out there, brochures. Those are content pieces that you're investing probably time, money, and energy into creating. And those are really important. You own those. You own the messaging. You craft them specifically, again, for your business goals to make the connection with the intended audience. And there's a lot of great tools. I've talked about them before. Canva is a great one. There's a lot of great apps out there that'll help you to create content on your own and publish it. And making sure you know who your intended audience is, where they're going to be. That's the way to kind of make sure that it gets in front of them at the right time. There's also, though, curated content and user-generated content. And these will help you, these 2 categories will help you, especially as a lot of you get really busy and get into your real sales seasons. So curated content, that's stuff that other organizations are putting out there that you can use, that reflect your brand, that have some connection with your business. And it saves you a little bit of time. So places that I look at for, using curated content would be like, your Farm Bureau. That's a good place to start. A lot of times they're putting out messaging that might tie with your business. Other farm organizations that you belong to, membership organizations, are really important. In Maryland, we have My Maryland Farmer, which is a great blog. They post a lot of really timely topics. So there's oftentimes pieces that they'll put out that I want to share with our customers, and that makes a lot of sense. So you might look for ways to curate content through some of those organizations that you work with. And if you are an organization, you're kind of almost in an easier spot, because you can take content. You need to ask for permission. So developing relationships is really important. But to use, your members as sources of content for your organization, sharing what's happening on Monnet Farms, might be an easy post for your communications team to do without having to spend a lot of time creating stuff. And that's good for the organization because it builds back on those relationships. On the business side, The user-generated content is that same thing, basically. So you're getting your customers to create content about your brand, and then you're sharing it back. So things that work really well, like if you have a CSA, to encourage your customers to post pictures of what they got in their CSA share, what they made that week, and use a hashtag. That's how you're going to keep track of it all. But if they can hashtag your farm name in there, then that's something that you can share back with your audience. It shows a couple things. I mean, one, it shows your product in use. It's essentially a review. It's a real, authentic, someone else posted it. You didn't create it yourself. So it has a certain level of validity that can be challenging to create on your own as a business. But if someone else is doing it on your behalf and not getting paid to do so, and also, I think people like to be engaged with the brands. They like to support the companies that they're buying from and working with. And so I think there's a certain amount of pride that comes with one of your customers creating a meal with the products they got from you and seeing it posted for your audience. That's, in a lot of cases, that's something that a lot of people are happy to see. They want to see themselves. They want to promote your business. And so it's a really good tool, I think. And so looking for ways to do user-generated content. Again, I mentioned this earlier when I was talking about the organizations and curating content. It's important that you do have a plan in place, and that you do ask permission from, whoever it is that's sharing that content. And again, that's to protect you as a business. That's to be courteous to the people posting content. And that's also just building on a relationship. Keeping in contact with your customers and saying, hey, I saw what you posted. I really like it. Can we share it? I think it's great. And, 9 times out of 10, people are really happy to share their content with you. So those are 3 types of content. If you check my blog, allagmedia.com/content, I'll have a little bit more information and some more ideas for you, links to tools and resources, kind of tip sheets, and also some of those planning documents that we talked about. Because again, I can't stress enough how important it is that you have a plan in place that really identifies what are your business goals, who are we trying to reach, what are we doing, and then you get out there and you make the content. So hope this helped you today. Looking forward to hearing from you all. And I hope that this gets your mind turning for what kind of content you want to put out there as you get into the spring and summer seasons. And I will see you guys soon.